Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyay and you are watching Namaste World, your daily window into the biggest stories shaping India and the world. We begin in North America. From Maradona's magic in 1986 to million-dollar hospitality suites in 2026. Mexican fans are being prized out of football's biggest stage. A show which began as comedy but ended in tears as Bowen's young emotional farewell marked the end of a transformative era on Saturday Night Live. But the biggest news of the day, Bangladesh's election season turns deadly again as another student movement-linked leader, Muhammad Motaleb Sikdar, is shot, deepening fears over spiraling political violence. All that and more. Global flashpoints, power plays and the stories that matter are coming up in this edition of Namaste World. Bangladesh is witnessing escalating political violence ahead of upcoming elections. Today in Khulna, unidentified gunmen shot Muhammad Motaleb Sikdar, a 42-year-old senior leader of the student-led National Citizens Party and convener of its labor wing, Jatiya Shramik Shakti. The attack occurred around 11:45 am local time at a residence in the city's Sornadega area. Sikdar, who was organizing an upcoming divisional labor rally, sustained a gunshot wound to his head and now reported to be out of danger after treatment at Khulna Medical College Hospital. Police have launched an investigation in this case. This incident comes amid heightened tensions following the recent killing of prominent student leader Sharif Osman Hadi. Hadi, a key figure in last year's uprising and spokesperson of the Inqilab Mancha, was shot in Dhaka earlier this month and died in Singapore while undergoing a treatment, sparking widespread protest, vandalism and calls for justice. Authorities continue to urge calm as the nation grapples with these attacks on youth leaders.
In Bangladesh, the security situation is spiraling out of control. The India Visa Application Center in Chittagong, one of the country's main hubs for visa processing, has shut down indefinitely. The closure comes after radical Islamist groups unleashed violence targeting minorities and spreading anti-India sentiment. This center serves applicants from Dhaka, Rajshahi, Sylhet and Khulna. Limited appointments are still available, strictly for emergency cases including medical visas. The incidents of violence are not isolated. In Janaida, 200 kilometers from Dhaka, a rickshaw puller named Govinda Biswas was brutally assaulted by a mob. The reason? A simple red thread on his wrist, a symbol of Hindu faith. The attackers called him a raw agent, referencing India's intelligence agency. Videos on social media show Biswas pleading for his life. Yet, the mob overpowered him. Even police on the scene did not intervene effectively, leaving him injured. And then there is the tragic case of Deepu Chandradas, killed by a radical mob over alleged blasphemy. Police investigations found no evidence that Das said anything offensive. Still, the factory flooring charge handed him to an enraged mob. These attacks are stirring criticism against the interim Muhammad Yunus-led government. Analysts point to its empowerment of radical groups, including Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh, previously banned for terror links. Pro-Pakistan policies, political and military visits from Pakistan, and reports of ISI operatives in Bangladesh are further fueling unrest. Experts warn these radical mobs are emboldened by the government's inaction. The violence is layered, not just religious but political. As elections approach, radical mobs have targeted Bangladesh Nationalist Party leaders. In Lakshmipur Sadar, the house of BNP Assistant Organizing Secretary Bilal Hussain was locked from outside and set on fire. Tragically, Hussein's 7-year-old daughter Aisha Akhtar was killed and 3 others injured. Police confirmed the attack took place in the early hours of Saturday, highlighting the scale of chaos on the streets. Political analysts say there is a dual motive behind these attacks. Firstly, to push Bangladesh towards hardline Islamist politics. Secondly, to create chaos to delay elections. Minorities, particularly Hindus, bear the brunt of these attacks. Meanwhile, India watches closely as anti-India rhetoric and violence escalates. The suspension of the Chittagong Visa Center is just one visible sign of the growing unrest and insecurity. Bangladesh is at a crossroads. The streets are increasingly unsafe, minorities are being targeted, and the political climate is volatile. The world is watching, and so far the interim government's response is under scrutiny. The question now is simple but urgent. Can Bangladesh restore security and protect its citizens before the unrest deepens further?
Nearly 4 decades after Mexico hosted football's most magical night, fans dreaming of 2026 faces a brutal reality. Ticket prices rival monthly salaries, ballots keep failing, and ordinary supporters feel locked out of their own World Cup. With memories of packed terraces still alive, has the game of the people finally become a luxury event? Here is a report by Dibangana Datta.
Jonathan Zamora was 7 years old when he witnessed football history. Mexico City, 1986. The Azteca Stadium. Argentina versus England. First, Diego Maradona's infamous hand of God. Then, moments later, the goal of the century. A slam run past half the England team that would be replayed for generations. Zamora's father paid about $150 for a 13-game package, the cheapest seats in the house. Today, that's roughly $442. Fast forward to 2025. The World Cup is returning to Mexico. Zamora, now an engineer, immediately knew he wanted to take his 71-year-old father back to the stadium to relive the magic. And then he saw the prices. According to a Guardian investigation, tickets for Mexico's opening match against South Africa at the Azteca Stadium, $1,290 to $825 for a regular seat. No guarantees. Hospitality options? Try $10,000. In a country where the average professional earns $416 a month. Let that sink in. For 4 months, Zamora has been trying to buy tickets. 3 online ballots, 3 failures. He has no idea how he'll attend the World Cup in his own country. The reality is that it increasingly feels like there isn't actually a World Cup in Mexico, he told The Guardian. And he's not alone. Nobody seems to have tickets. Mexican writer Rodrigo Marquez Tizano put it perfectly. Businessmen have appropriated the ball that used to belong to the people. And here's the kicker. Only 13 of the tournament's 104 matches will be played in Mexico. 78 will be in the United States. We feel excluded, Zamora says. This is the most football-obsessed nation of the 3 host countries, and they're being priced out of their own party. FIFA claims 5 million people applied for the latest ballot. 2 million tickets already sold in earlier phases. Less than 5 million remain. But ask any Mexican fan and they'll tell you the same story. Confusion, failure, frustration. Jorge Garcia, a 40-year-old advertising executive, waited 2 hours in a virtual queue just to apply for tickets. He won't know until February if he was successful. It seems like this mess is intentional so that you give up and look for the resale market, Garcia told The Guardian. A Liga MX match at the same stadium costs $15 to $50. A World Cup ticket? 25 times that, at minimum. In 1986, the World Cup smelled of sweat and hope. In 2026, it smells like money. And most Mexicans can't afford the price of admission. With Dibangana Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
It was meant to be comedy, not heartbreaking, but on live television, Bowen broke down during a farewell sketch that felt bigger than an airport shift. 8 seasons, barriers shattered, characters immortalized, and a cast suddenly thinner. As he takes his final bow after an emotional goodbye, what does SNL lose now? Here is a report by Dibangana Datta.
It was not supposed to be this emotional. But there was Bowen Yang, breaking down on live television, working his last shift at a Delta Sky Club on Christmas Eve. Except it wasn't really about the airport. It was about saying goodbye. I just feel so lucky that I ever got to work here, Yang said through tears, flanked by Ariana Grande and Cher. I've loved every single person who works here. And just like that, one of Saturday Night Live's most groundbreaking performers took his final bow. Yang made history the moment he stepped onto Studio 8H in 2019. The first Chinese-American repertory player, only the third openly gay man. But he never let those labels define him. Instead, he became the iceberg that sank the Titanic, a baby hippo named Mu Deng, Kim Jong-un, even J.D. Vance, much to his own horror. But he wasn't just making sketches, he was making history. 5 Emmy nominations, the most nominated Asian male performer in the award's 77-year existence. But Yang's real power, he could carry a sketch or disappear into the ensemble. That's the mark of a true SNL veteran. Beyond Studio H, Yang built an empire. His podcast Las Culturistas went from Brooklyn comedy staple to A-list destination. Jennifer Lawrence, Demi Lovato, Real Housewives, everyone wanted in. Tina Fey said it best on his podcast, "You're too famous now, sir." Yang's departure leaves SNL thinner at the top. Ego Godum and Heidi Gardner already gone. The cast now split evenly between veterans and rookies still finding their footing. For 8 seasons, Bowen Yang did not just perform, he transformed what Saturday Night Live could be. And on his last night, he made sure we'd remember. With Debangna Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
As we wrap up today's show, here is a quick look at the top stories making waves around the world. New court documents reveal the Bondi Beach attackers meticulously planned the massacre for months, throwing explosives and rehearsing gunfire before killing 15 people. The US Coast Guard is pursuing a sanctioned oil tanker near Venezuela, escalating President Trump's pressure campaign to choke off Caracas' illicit oil trade. Thailand and Cambodia will hold defense talks this week to salvage a ceasefire as deadly border clashes stretch into third week. A Malaysian court has rejected jailed former Prime Minister Najib Razak's bid for his house arrest, days before a crucial verdict in 1MDB corruption scandal. A Russian general has been killed in Moscow's car bombing, the latest in a string of high-profile assassination target military and pro-war figure. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Namaste World, from breakthroughs in technology and business to political developments and natural disasters. Stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates, key developments and more from New Delhi to New York. See you again tomorrow, same time, right here on Namaste World.